Arman and Hina's love story did not begin with fireworks or some grand destiny written in the stars, but in the gentle peace of everyday life, a peace so ordinary that it almost escaped notice, and yet within those small, fleeting moments was hidden the seed of something extraordinary. The first time they met was in the most mundane of places, a neighborhood grocery store where Hina stood on tiptoe, her delicate fingers reaching toward the top shelf for a jar she could not quite grasp. Her brows furrowed with determination, while Arman, standing a few steps away, noticed her struggle and instinctively stepped forward, plucking the jar down effortlessly with his tall frame before handing it to her with a kind smile. And though the exchange lasted barely a few seconds, Hina found herself murmuring a flustered, "Thank you," not once but twice, her cheeks warming as Arman chuckled softly at her nervousness, a sign so genuine that it lingered with her long after he walked away. At the time, neither thought much of it, yet fate, in its quiet insistence, kept weaving their paths together, so that over the next few weeks they ran into each other again and again in that same market, sometimes near the fruit stall, sometimes at the bakery counter, sometimes crossing the parking lot at the very same moment, and with each encounter their glances grew longer, their greetings warmer, until one afternoon when the sky was painted with the soft glow of sunset, Arman finally gathered the courage to approach her beyond small talk, asking if she might join him for a cup of tea at the lit roadside cafe just across the street. And Hina, though her heart raced with hesitation, felt an inexplicable trust in his presence and found herself nodding with a shy smile, the kind that would later make Arman think she had the power to quiet entire storms with nothing more than her lips curving upward. What began as a single shared cup of tea soon became many, and before long, jovial old man with a sharp memory began teasing them that they had claimed the corner table as their own. For hours would pass as they sat there, their voices rising and falling in endless conversation about childhood memories, about favorite foods, about books they had loved, about the cities they dreamed of visiting someday, and about what it meant to find a place where one truly belonged. And without even realizing it, they began to belong to each other, stitching their separate lives into a fabric of shared hopes and laughter. When Arman finally confessed his feelings, it was not with rehearsed poetry or elaborate gestures, but in the same quiet sincerity that had defined their connection from the start. One evening on a rooftop overlooking the city where the lights twinkled below like scattered stars, he took her hand in his voice steady but his eyes betraying the storm of emotion within, and simply said, "I don't want to imagine life without you." And Hina, whose heart had been waiting for these words long before they were spoken, felt tears prick her eyes as she whispered back, "You don't have to." Their marriage, when it came, smile or a touch, can slowly, gently, a love always when. Years passed in this rhythm of their days, a blend of challenges and comforts, and soon their love expanded with the arrival of their daughter, whose tiny fingers and bright laughter changed their world in ways they had never imagined, bringing sleepless nights but also the purest joy. For when they took turns rocking her to sleep or sang lullabies together in the dark, they realized that love had grown from just two people into a family. Arman, though tired from long working hours, never failed to bring small surprises home, flowers tucked into his bag, a sweet treat he knew Hina loved, or simply a note left on the table reminding her how much she meant to him, while Hina, though exhausted from caring for Ira, never stopped making their home a place of peace, filling it with laughter, warmth, and faith in their bond. And together they discovered that true love was not measured in grand gestures but in everyday choices, in forgiveness after fights, in patience through struggles, in standing side by side when storms came, and in never letting go of each other's hand even when the world seemed overwhelming. And as time carried them forward, weaving years into decades, they continued to live not a story of glamour but of death, when where every look across the dinner table, every walk through the market, every shared ice cream, and every whispered dream at night was another thread in the endless fabric of their extraordinary, ordinary love.